This is Headley. He's going to be our model today for me just showing how we use our ultrasonic scaler. I'll also be using a Gracie Curette and a sickle scaler just to show you how the hand pieces work as well as an Explorer probe. We've put some whiteout on Headley's teeth here. So this is what our calculus is going to be defined by today. So first thing you want to do is obviously have full PPE on, as it is aerosol inducing. So you want to make sure that you are fully protected from bacteria in the air. So you want to start, you can start with any arcade you like. I'm going to start on the buccal side of the 100s. So we can start right at 101 and then we'll work all the way back. So just starting at the incisors, you're going to use the side of the scaler. And it should create a bit of a mist. And you only want to spend about 10 seconds per tooth. You're going to start at the gingival side and then do short strokes coronal. You can also try and shoot so you're not going straight down the throat, as you don't want to cause asphyxiation. So just short strokes, pulling to the coronal surface. You could shoot rostrally as well. And then if it's really hard to get the calculus off, you want to just remember to not spend too much time on each tooth as it can heat up. So we'll come back as we go. And just making sure not to use the tip, as you don't want to generate too much heat and you don't want to damage the tooth. Okay. Oh. And then you can really get into all the kind of cracks and crevices. And then after you've done the full arcade, I'm just doing a demo. I'm not going to go through all the teeth thoroughly here. You then can move on to what we tend to do is we go the 100 arcade on the buccal side, and then you want to go into the lingual palatal side, and always making sure that you get both the mesial and the distal aspects of the tooth. And some obviously areas are a bit harder to get when you have all these cracks and crevices. So that's what's great for using, and I'm starting obviously distal here and I'm moving rostrally. But then afterwards too, you can use the hand pieces to perform further scaling as needed to get into those kind of harder to reach places. And then if this was a real animal too, you could lift the head up and then drop it to let some of the liquid escape, as well as using suction. Headley's mandible and maxilla are not attached to each other, so doing my best to try and keep his head together as I'm doing this. And then, yeah, so I did a little bit of the maxilla there. But then I'll move on to the mandible afterwards. So yeah, that's kind of how you use the ultrasonic scaler. It just is through vibrations. You don't obviously have to sharpen this instrument. And you just want to make sure that it's always creating this kind of fine mist as you're scaling the teeth. The water helps protect the teeth from getting too hot. And then we can use we'll start with our sickle scaler. So just showing, obviously I haven't done the best job. I would go back over some of these teeth with the scaler, but just for the video's purpose, I'm going to use my hand instruments to show how we could get rid of some of this calculus. So just starting right at the top near the gingiva and then pulling toward the crown, moving coronally. And that's how you can start to get rid of some of this excess calculus. Not applying too much pressure, but the hand tools do make it a bit easier to get into some of the tougher to reach places. Okay, so that is how you would use the scaler, just in these short downward motions. Okay, and then for the curette, we have our Gracie curette here. You can actually, it has the one cutting edge and then it has the rounded edge. So this way you can kind of actually get up under the gingiva a little bit, and you can pull down, scraping the tooth, while the rounded edge is on the gingival side, so you're not going to be cutting into the gingiva as you're going. So again, you can just go a bit higher with this instrument and still safely remove plaque and calculus without hurting the animal. And then the last thing you would do as well is you would take your exploratory probe and you'd run it over the teeth, and you should have a nice glassy feeling as you're going down the teeth. Some of these I'm obviously going to catch because I haven't removed all the plaque, and it catches a bit. So that's an indication to you that you need to go back over it with a scaler, either the ultrasonic or a hand scaler. So yeah, that's what you do with your exploratory probe. And then we also have our measuring probe here too, which you can kind of measure any into the sulcus, and you can see how deep any of the pockets are and record them in your charting. And if it'll be a kind of an indication on whether that tooth needs to be extracted or not. And that's how you use the ultrasonic scaler.